The morning sun cast long shadows across the rocky ground as Dr. Marcus Chen walked away from the mining camp. His boots made soft sounds on the dirt path. He carried his medical bag in one hand and a data tablet in the other. Today was his weekly survey of the local wildlife, something he did to help the colony understand their new home planet. Marcus had been living on Kepler 442b for 2 years now. The planet was mostly safe, but the colonial government wanted to know about all the animals and plants around their settlement. As the camp's doctor and scientist, this job fell to him. He did not mind the work. It gave him time away from the noisy machines and worried miners. The path led him toward a group of tall, purple trees that grew near a small stream. These trees were strange. They grew in perfect circles, as if someone had planted them that way. Marcus had seen this pattern many times on this planet. It made him wonder if the local animals were smarter than they first appeared. As he walked between the trees, a sound made him stop. It was not the usual noise of birds or insects. This sound was different. It was low and painful, like something crying. Marcus set down his bag and listened carefully. The sound came again, somewhere to his left. He pushed through some thick bushes and found a small clearing. In the center, caught in what looked like a trap made of wood and rope, was an animal unlike anything he had seen before. It was about the size of a large dog, but its body was more like a wolf. Its fur was dark blue and seemed to shine in the sunlight. When the animal moved, colors danced across its coat like oil on water. The creature's front paw was caught in the trap. A wooden arrow stuck out from the paw, and Marcus could see that the fur around the wound was changing color. The bright blue was turning dark purple, then black. The arrow was poisoned. Marcus moved slowly toward the animal. It saw him coming and tried to back away, but the trap held it in place. The creature's eyes were large and golden, and Marcus could see intelligence in them. This was not just a simple animal. There was something more here, something that understood what was happening. "Easy," Marcus said softly. "I want to help you." The creature watched him but did not try to bite or scratch. It seemed to understand that he was not a threat. Marcus knelt down next to the trap and looked at the wound. The poison was spreading quickly up the animal's leg. If he did not act soon, the creature would die. Marcus opened his medical bag and took out his tools. He had medicine that worked against many different poisons, but he was not sure if it would help with alien toxins. Still, he had to try. The creature was suffering, and his doctor's training told him to help. First, he needed to free the paw from the trap. The wooden pieces were held together with rope, and Marcus was able to cut them loose with his knife. The creature pulled its paw back but did not run away. Instead, it lay down and watched Marcus work. "This is going to hurt," Marcus told the animal, even though he knew it probably could not understand him. He gripped the arrow carefully. The poison on the tip was still wet and gave off a sharp smell that made his nose burn. He had to be careful not to touch it. With one quick movement, Marcus pulled the arrow out. The creature made a sound like a whimper, but did not move. Dark blood flowed from the wound, carrying some of the poison with it. This was good. The bleeding would help clean out the toxins. Marcus quickly gave the animal a shot of his strongest anti-poison medicine. Then he cleaned the wound with water from his bottle and wrapped it with clean bandages. The whole time, the creature watched him with those bright golden eyes. When Marcus was done, he sat back and looked at his patient. The dark color around the wound was already starting to fade. The medicine was working. The creature would live. "There," Marcus said. "That should help." The animal lifted its head and looked at Marcus for a long moment. Then it did something that surprised him. It moved its good paw toward him and gently touched his hand. The touch was soft and warm, and Marcus felt like the creature was saying thank you. Marcus packed up his medical supplies and stood up. He expected the animal to run away now that it was free. Instead, it got to its feet slowly and continued to watch him. It favored the hurt paw, but it could walk. "You should go home now," Marcus told it. "Rest and let that heal." The creature tilted its head to one side, as if it was thinking about something. Then it turned and walked slowly into the trees, but it stopped after a few steps and looked back at Marcus one more time before disappearing into the shadows. Marcus stood alone in the clearing, wondering about what had just happened. The trap was clearly made by intelligent beings. Someone had set it to catch animals. But who? The colonial surveys had found no signs of intelligent life on this planet. Maybe they had missed something. He picked up the poisoned arrow and put it in a sample container. The scientists back at camp would want to study it. As he walked back toward the settlement, Marcus thought about the creature's golden eyes and the way it had touched his hand. There had been something almost human about that gesture. That night, as Marcus wrote his report, he decided not to mention the trapped animal. He was not sure why, but something told him to keep it secret. Instead, he wrote about the plants and birds he had seen. He put the arrow sample in his personal collection rather than giving it to the main lab. Outside his window, Marcus could see the purple trees where he had found the creature. Somewhere out there in the darkness, golden eyes might be watching the human settlement. He wondered if he would see the strange animal again, and what other secrets this planet might be hiding. 3 days later, Marcus returned to the purple trees. He told himself it was for his regular wildlife survey. But really, he wanted to check on the wounded creature. He had been thinking about those golden eyes and the gentle touch of its paw. The clearing where he had found the trap was empty now. Someone had taken away the broken pieces of wood and rope. Marcus looked around carefully but saw no other signs of whoever had built it. He was about to leave when he heard a soft sound behind him. The creature stood at the edge of the trees, watching him. Its fur still shimmered with blue and silver colors, and the bandage was gone from its paw. Marcus could see that the wound had healed well. There was barely a mark where the arrow had been. "Hello again," Marcus said quietly. He set down his bag and sat on a fallen log. "How are you feeling?" The creature moved closer, no longer afraid. It walked normally now, with no sign of pain. When it was about 3 feet away, it sat down and studied Marcus with those intelligent golden eyes. Marcus pulled out his translation device. It was a small computer that could learn new languages by listening to patterns in speech. The colonial government had given one to each scientist in case they found intelligent life. Until now, Marcus had never needed to use it. He turned on the device and set it on the log between them. The creature looked at it with curiosity. Then, something amazing happened. The creature opened its mouth and made sounds that were clearly speech. Not animal noises, but actual words in some unknown language. The translator worked quickly, trying to find patterns. After a few minutes, words began to appear on its screen. "You helped me. Why?" Marcus stared at the device, then at the creature. "You can talk," he said, amazed. More words appeared. "Yes, I speak. You speak. We can. Share words?" "Yes, we can share words," Marcus said slowly, speaking toward the translator. "I helped you because you were hurt and in pain. It was the right thing to do." The creature tilted its head. "Right thing?" "Explain." Marcus thought about how to answer. "When someone is suffering, you help them if you can. It does not matter who they are or what they look like. Helping others is what good people do." The translator worked for several minutes on this longer speech. The creature listened to the translation, then made more sounds. The words that appeared made Marcus smile. "You are. Strange human. Other sky people not like you." "Other sky people?" Marcus asked. "You mean other aliens? Other species from space?" "Yes. Many come to worlds. Take things. Hurt people. Want payment for help. You want nothing?" Marcus shook his head. "I want nothing. I am just happy that you are well." The creature stood up and walked closer. Now Marcus could see small details he had missed before. Around its neck was a band made of some kind of metal, with symbols carved into it. The symbols looked like writing. This was not just an intelligent animal. This was a person from another species. "My name is Marcus," he said, pointing to himself. "What is your name?" The creature made a complex sound that the translator showed as Valith. She repeated it more slowly so Marcus could try to say it. Valeth, Marcus said. That is a beautiful name. Valeth moved even closer and sat right next to Marcus on the log. Her fur was incredibly soft, and she smelled like flowers and rain. Marcus's good name too. Marcus, who helps. They talked for over an hour. Valeth told Marcus that she was scouting ahead for her people, who were traveling through this area. Her people were called the Keth Mori, and they moved from place to place, never staying anywhere for long. Why do you move so much? Marcus asked. Valeth was quiet for a moment. The translator showed her next words. Safe that way. Other people in sky look for us. Want to hurt us. We hide. Marcus felt sad hearing this. Are you running from someone? Running. Yes. For many seasons. Many years. We had homeworld once. Beautiful place. But bad people came. Wanted our, she made sounds that the translator could not understand. Your what? Marcus asked gently. Valeth pointed to the translator. Then to the metal band around her neck. Then to her own head. Things we know. Ways to make things. Secrets of sky travel and healing and power. Marcus understood. Technology. Your people have advanced technology. Yes. But we look like... Valeth gestured at herself. At her simple leather accessories and primitive appearance. We look like animals to them. So they think we are not smart. This keeps us safe. But you are very smart, Marcus said. I could see it in your eyes from the first moment. Valeth turned to look at him directly. You saw me as person, not animal, not thing to use. This is rare. As the sun began to set, Valeth stood up. I must go back to my people. Tell them about kind human. Will I see you again? Marcus asked. Maybe. My people will decide. They watch your settlement for many days. Try to understand if humans can be trusted. Number. Maybe my people will decide a 70. Who people take? Maybe my people will decide. Marcus was surprised. You have been watching us? Yes. We watch all sky people who come to worlds. Most are dangerous. But you... Valeth paused. You give hope that... Maybe some are different. She turned to leave. Then stopped. Marcus, who helps. You have given me gift. More than healing of wound, you have given respect. Honor. My people have words for this debt. You do not owe me anything, Marcus said quickly. I helped because I wanted to help. Valeth's golden eyes seemed to glow in the dim light. This makes gift even greater. Human who expects nothing will receive everything. With those mysterious words, she disappeared into the darkening forest. Marcus sat alone on the log as the first stars appeared in the sky. He had so many questions. Who were Valeth's people really? What technology did they have? And what had she meant about receiving everything? As he walked back to the settlement, Marcus made a decision. He would not report this meeting to the colonial authorities yet. Something told him that Valeth's people had good reasons for hiding. If they had been running from dangerous enemies for years, they deserved to decide for themselves when and how to make contact. That night, Marcus lay in his bed thinking about honor and debts and gifts. He had helped an injured creature without expecting anything in return, but Valeth seemed to think this simple act meant something much bigger. Outside his window, the purple trees swayed in the night wind. Somewhere out there, golden eyes might still be watching, and somewhere beyond that, an entire people were deciding whether humans could be trusted with secrets that might change the galaxy. Marcus returned to the purple trees every day for a week, but Valeth did not come back. He began to worry that something had happened to her, or that her people had decided to leave the area. On the 8th day, just as he was about to give up hope, he found her waiting in the clearing, but this time, Valeth was not alone. 3 other creatures like her stood in the shadows between the trees. They were all different colors. One was silver, one was deep purple, and one was golden brown. Like Valeth, They wore simple leather accessories and metal bands around their necks. "Marcus who helps," Valeth said as she approached him. "My people wanted to see the human who shows kindness to strangers." Marcus looked at the others nervously. They watched him with the same intelligent golden eyes, but their expressions were harder to read than Valeth's. "Hello," he said to them. "I am Marcus." The silver one stepped forward and made sounds that the translator turned into words. "I am Kenth, war leader of this group. Valeth has told us much about you." "It is an honor to meet you," Marcus said, not sure if this was the right thing to say. Kenth studied Marcus for a long moment. "Valeth says you healed her wound and asked for nothing in return. This is hard to believe." "Why is it hard to believe?" Marcus asked. The purple one answered, "Because in 300 years of running, no sky person has ever helped us without wanting something. They want our knowledge, our technology, our service. Always, they want." Marcus felt sad hearing this. "I am sorry that happened to you. Not all humans are like that." "This is what we hope to learn," Kenth said. "Valeth has asked permission to show you truth, to tell you who we really are." Valeth moved to stand next to Marcus. "Will you come with us, Marcus who helps? Will you trust us as we begin to trust you?" Marcus looked at the 4 alien beings. Something important was happening here, something that could change everything. "Yes," he said. "I will come." They led him deeper into the forest than he had ever gone before. After walking for an hour, they reached a place where the trees grew so thick that barely any sunlight reached the ground. Here, hidden in a natural cave, Marcus saw something that made him stop and stare. The cave was filled with technology that looked far more advanced than anything humans had built. Smooth walls glowed with soft light. Screens showed images of distant stars and planets. Machines hummed quietly, doing work that Marcus could not understand. "This is not possible," Marcus whispered. "You said your people were primitive." "We said no such thing," Valeth replied gently. "We allowed others to think we were primitive. There is difference." Kenth gestured for Marcus to sit on a chair that formed itself from the cave wall. "We will tell you our real story now, human Marcus. But first, you must promise that you will not share this knowledge with your people until we say you may." Marcus nodded. "I promise." The golden-brown Keth Mori, who had introduced herself as Miraleth, began to speak. The translator worked to turn her words into English. "Long ago, our people lived on a world called Keth Mor in the center of the galaxy. We were builders of knowledge. For thousands of years, we studied the stars and learned the secrets of space and time and life itself." She touched a control panel, and the walls around them lit up with images. Marcus saw a beautiful world with silver cities that reached up toward the clouds. Ships moved between the buildings without making any sound. People who looked like Valeth walked in gardens filled with plants from 100 different worlds. "We shared our knowledge freely," Miraleth continued. "We taught other species how to travel between stars without destroying their ships. We showed them how to heal diseases that had killed millions. We gave them ways to create energy without poisoning their worlds." "It sounds wonderful," Marcus said. Kenth's expression grew dark. "It was wonderful. Until the hegemony came, new images appeared on the walls. These showed massive gray ships with sharp edges and weapons that blazed with red light. The hegemony was an empire of species that believed only they should have advanced technology. They went from world to world, taking knowledge and enslaving the people who had created it." Valeth spoke now. "When they came to Keth Mor, they demanded that we give them all our knowledge and become their servants. Our leaders refused. They said knowledge should be free, not owned by bullies and tyrants." The images showed a terrible war. The silver cities burned. Ships fell from the sky like broken birds. Marcus watched in horror as the beautiful world was destroyed. "The hegemony could not defeat us completely," Miraleth said. "But they could destroy our world to keep others from having what they could not control. In the end, only a few thousand of our people escaped." Marcus stared at the images of destruction. "How long ago did this happen?" 300 of your years," Kent replied. Since then, we have been nomads, moving from world to world. We hid our technology and pretended to be simple creatures, so the hegemony would not hunt us. Are they still looking for you? Marcus asked. Always, Valeth said sadly. The hegemony grew larger and stronger after destroying our world. They now control most of the galaxy. Any species that develops advanced technology either joins them or is destroyed. Marcus felt overwhelmed by what he was learning. And you have been running and hiding for 3 centuries? Yes, Myralith said. But we never stopped hoping that we would find a species different from the others. A species that values kindness over power, knowledge over wealth, cooperation over conquest. Valeth moved closer to Marcus. This is why your actions matter so much, Marcus, who helps. You saw a wounded creature and helped without thought of reward. This tells us something about human nature. But I am just one person, Marcus said. How can you judge all humans by what I did? Kent answered. We have been watching your settlement for months. We have seen how your people work together, how they help each other in times of trouble. We have listened to your conversations and learned your languages. Most sky people we have met think only of themselves. Your species is young, Myraleth added. You have not yet learned to travel between stars easily. But you have something more valuable. You have the possibility of becoming what my people once were. Valeth touched the metal band around her neck. This holds the complete knowledge of my people. How to heal any wound. How to travel vast distances in moments. How to create energy that lasts forever. All of this, I am prepared to offer to humanity. Marcus could not speak for a moment. The implications were staggering. With this technology, humans could become one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Disease and hunger could become things of the past. They could explore distant worlds and meet other civilizations as equals. Why? He finally managed to ask. Why would you give us something so precious? Valeth's golden eyes met his. Because you removed a poisoned arrow from my paw and asked for nothing in return. Because in that moment, you showed us that humans might be the species we have been searching for. People who can be trusted with great power because they use it to help rather than to hurt. Marcus stood up slowly, his mind reeling. 3 days ago, he had been a simple doctor on a mining colony. Now he was being offered knowledge that could transform human civilization, and all because he had done what any decent person would do, help someone who was suffering. There is more, Kent said. If your people prove worthy, we can teach you about other species in the galaxy who think as we do. Hidden civilizations that resist the hegemony. Together, we might be strong enough to rebuild what was destroyed. Marcus looked around at the advanced technology, at these remarkable beings who had kept their hope alive for 3 centuries. What happens now? He asked. Now, Valeth said, we begin the real test. Marcus spent 3 more days with the Keth Mori, learning about their culture and technology. Each day brought new wonders. Valeth showed him healing devices that could repair any injury in minutes. Myralith demonstrated computers that could think and create like living beings. Kent revealed weapons that could disable rather than kill, designed for defense rather than conquest. But on the 4th day, everything changed. Marcus returned to the mining settlement to find it buzzing with activity. 3 new ships had landed, sleek vessels bearing the symbols of Earth's government and the Colonial Mining Corporation. People in expensive suits walked around the camp, asking questions and taking pictures of everything. Dr. Sarah Chen, the settlement's administrator and Marcus's sister, met him at the gate. Her face was pale with worry. Where have you been? She asked urgently. These people have been here for 2 days, asking about you. They say you found something important and didn't report it. Marcus's heart sank. What do they know? They know about the alien arrow you collected. The one you put in your personal samples instead of the main laboratory. Marcus cursed silently. He had forgotten that all scientific materials were tracked by the colony's computer systems. Someone had noticed the unusual arrow and reported it to Earth. A tall man in a gray suit approached them. His smile was cold and calculating. Dr. Marcus Chen, I presume? I am Director Harrison from the Colonial Research Division. We need to talk. They met in the settlement's main building, along with two other officials. One was a military officer named Colonel Price. The other was a corporate representative called Miss Winters. All three looked at Marcus like he was a valuable prize they intended to claim. Dr. Chen, Director Harrison began. Our analysis of the arrow you collected shows technology and materials not found anywhere else in known space. The poison on the tip contains compounds that suggest extremely advanced biochemical knowledge. Marcus said nothing. He had promised Valeth that he would keep their secret. Colonel Price leaned forward. Doctor, we know you have made contact with the beings who created this weapon. Your movement patterns over the past week have been unusual. You have been going to the same area of forest every day. I was conducting wildlife surveys, Marcus said. Miss Winters laughed. Come now. Dr. Chen. We are all intelligent people here. You have discovered an advanced alien civilization, and you have been hiding it from your own species. The question is why? Director Harrison's voice became stern. This is bigger than personal feelings. Doctor. If there are aliens on this planet with advanced technology, Earth needs to know about it. Our survival as a species may depend on establishing contact and acquiring their knowledge. What if they do not want to make contact? Marcus asked. Then we will have to convince them, Colonel Price said. By whatever means necessary. The threat in his words was clear. Marcus felt sick. These people would destroy everything that Valeth and her people had worked to build. They would turn a potential friendship into conquest and exploitation. I need time to think about this, Marcus said. Time is something we do not have, Miss Winters replied. Our ships can scan this entire continent. We will find these aliens with or without your help. The only question is whether you want to be part of the solution or part of the problem. That night, Marcus slipped away from the settlement and ran to the forest. He found Valeth waiting for him in the clearing. But her usual calm had been replaced by fear and anger. They came, she said without greeting. Your skyships flew over our hidden places. They used machines to look through the trees and into the caves. Marcus felt ashamed. I am sorry. I tried to keep your secret, but they found out anyway. Valeth's golden eyes were sad. We have been preparing to leave this world. It is no longer safe for us here. Wait, Marcus said desperately. Not all humans are like them. There are good people in our settlement. People who would help you if they knew the truth. How can we tell the difference? Kenth emerged from the shadows, along with several other Kethmori. Your leaders speak of acquiring our knowledge. They think like the hegemony. Take first, ask questions later. Marcus knew they were right, but he could not accept that this would end in failure. Give me a chance to prove that there is another way. Let me show you that some humans can be trusted. Myralith stepped forward. What do you propose? Marcus, who helps? Marcus thought quickly. The officials want me to lead them to you. Instead, let me bring some of the regular people from our settlement. Miners, scientists, support staff, people who know what it is like to struggle and work hard. Let them meet you and decide for themselves what kind of relationship humans and Kethmori should have. Valeth looked uncertain. This is very dangerous. If your leaders discover what we are doing, then I will face the consequences, Marcus said firmly. I would rather risk my own safety than let this chance for friendship be destroyed by greed and fear. The next morning, Marcus returned to the settlement and quietly spoke to people he trusted. Dr. Elena Vasquez, who ran the medical clinic. Tom Bradley, the lead engineer who kept their machines running. Maria Santos, who managed their food supplies and was known for her kindness to everyone. He told them about Valeth and her people, about the technology they possessed, and the friendship they offered. Most importantly, he told them about the choice humanity faced: to be partners or conquerors. At first, some did not believe him. But Marcus was known as an honest man, and his obvious sincerity convinced them to listen. By evening, 12 people had agreed to come with him to meet the Kethmori. As they walked through the forest, Director Harrison and his team were preparing their own expedition. They planned to use military scanners and armed soldiers to force contact with the aliens. They saw the situation as a matter of human superiority. Get the technology first, and worry about consequences later. But Marcus and his group reached the clearing first. When Valeth and her people saw the humans approaching, they almost fled. Only Marcus's presence convinced them to stay. What happened next surprised everyone. Tom Bradley, the engineer, immediately noticed the elegant design of Kethmori technology and asked detailed questions about how it worked. Dr. Vasquez was fascinated by their medical knowledge and offered to share human healing techniques in return. Maria Santos brought food from the settlement and insisted that the Kethmori try human cooking. For 3 hours, the two groups talked and learned from each other. The humans asked respectful questions and offered friendship without demanding anything. The Kethmori shared stories of their long journey and their hopes for finding allies among the stars. As the sun began to set, Valeth pulled Marcus aside. "Your people, they are different from the others." "Some of them are," Marcus agreed, "just as I am sure some Kethmori are different from others." "We are prepared to make our offer," Kenth announced. "But not to your leaders. We offer it to these humans, who approach us as equals." Before anyone could respond, the sound of aircraft filled the air. Director Harrison's expedition had found them. "Dr. Chen," Harrison's amplified voice echoed through the trees. "Step away from the aliens immediately. You are interfering with official government business." Marcus looked at Valeth, then at his friends from the settlement. Tom Bradley stood up and moved to block the path to the clearing. Dr. Vasquez did the same. One by one, all 12 humans formed a protective line between the Kethmori and Harrison's approaching forces. "What are you doing?" Marcus asked them. Maria Santos smiled. "The same thing you did when you found Valeth hurt and trapped." "The right thing." Director Harrison and his soldiers arrived to find 12 humans standing between them and their targets. The Kethmori had not fled. Instead, they stood with the humans, unified in their refusal to be bullied. "You are all making a serious mistake," Harrison warned. "Stand aside, or face charges of treason." Tom Bradley spoke for the group. "The only mistake would be letting you destroy something beautiful before it has a chance to grow." As night fell over the forest, two very different groups of humans faced each other across a small clearing. Between them stood the Kethmori, no longer hiding, ready to offer their friendship to those who had earned it through courage and compassion. The real test was just beginning. The standoff in the forest lasted through the night. Director Harrison and his soldiers waited at the edge of the clearing while Marcus and his friends stood with the Kethmori. Neither side moved, but tension filled the air like electricity before a storm. As dawn broke, more people arrived from the mining settlement. Word had spread about what was happening, and colonists came to see for themselves. Some supported Harrison's position, believing that human interests should come first, but more stood with Marcus and his group, drawn by stories of the Kethmori's kindness and wisdom. Dr. Sarah Chen arrived with the morning shift workers. When she saw her brother standing with the aliens, her face showed both worry and pride. She walked past Harrison's soldiers and joined the protective circle around the Kethmori. "Sarah, what are you doing?" Harrison demanded. "Supporting my brother," she replied simply. "He has never led us wrong before." By midday, over 50 colonists had joined Marcus's group. Miners who had worked in dangerous conditions understood what it meant to rely on others for survival. Scientists who had dedicated their lives to learning respected the Kethmori's vast knowledge. Support staff who kept the colony running knew the value of cooperation over competition. Harrison realized that his position was becoming impossible. The colonists would not stand aside, and he could not use force against them without causing a scandal on Earth. He opened communications with his superiors, requesting new orders. While Harrison waited for instructions, Valeth made an announcement that changed everything. "People of Earth," she said, speaking so that the translator could broadcast her words to everyone present. "We have watched your species for many months. We have seen both your potential for greatness and your capacity for destruction." She gestured toward Marcus and his supporters. These humans have shown us what your people can become. They offer friendship without demanding payment. They share knowledge without seeking to dominate. They protect others even when it puts them at risk. Kent stepped forward. We also see humans who think like our ancient enemies. They want our technology, but not our friendship. They speak of taking what they desire by force. This path leads only to suffering. Miraleth addressed Harrison directly. Director Harrison, your approach reminds us of the hegemony that destroyed our world. If humanity follows this path, we will disappear from here as we have disappeared from 1,000 other worlds. Harrison's face was red with anger. You cannot threaten Earth's government. We have the right to protect our interests. And we have the right to protect ourselves, Valeth replied calmly. But we prefer to offer something better. She touched the metal band around her neck, and it began to glow. I am Valeth, daughter of the High Keeper of Kethmore. I carry within this device the complete knowledge of my people. Medical advances that can heal any disease. Energy systems that need no fuel and produce no waste. Transportation technology that can carry you to any star in days rather than years. The colonists gasped. Even Harrison's soldiers looked impressed. We offer all of this to humanity, Valeth continued, but not to your governments or corporations. We offer it to people like these. She indicated Marcus and his friends. People who have proven they can be trusted with great power because they use it to help others rather than to harm them. Harrison stepped forward. You cannot make deals with private citizens. I represent Earth's legitimate authority. Tom Bradley laughed. Authority? You represent politicians and businessmen who have never set foot on this planet. We represent the people who actually live here and do the work. Dr. Vasquez added, we also represent the values that make humanity worth preserving. Compassion, curiosity, cooperation. The same values that allowed Dr. Chen to see Valeth as a person in need rather than a resource to exploit. Over the next several days, an extraordinary thing happened. The standoff became a negotiation. And the negotiation became something unprecedented in galactic history. Humans and Kethmori worked together to create a new model for first contact between species. Instead of government-to-government treaties filled with trade agreements and territorial disputes, they developed something different. The Kethmori would share their knowledge gradually, working directly with human scientists and engineers who demonstrated wisdom and ethical behavior. The first exchange was medical technology. Dr. Vasquez received devices that could heal injuries in minutes and cure diseases that human medicine had never conquered. In return, she shared human research on genetics and surgery that fascinated the Kethmori scientists. Tom Bradley learned about Kethmori engineering principles and immediately saw ways to make human technology more efficient and less harmful to the environment. He began designing new systems that could provide clean energy for the entire colony. Maria Santos worked with Kethmori agricultural specialists to develop farming techniques that could feed millions without damaging the soil or requiring harmful chemicals. Most importantly, Marcus became the first human ambassador to the Kethmori. He spent his days learning about their culture and helping to build understanding between the two species. Harrison and his team remained on the planet for 3 months, filing reports and trying to assert government control over the situation. But their influence diminished as the success of the human-Kethmori partnership became obvious. The mining colony transformed into a model community where technology served the people rather than the other way around. News of the alliance spread across human space and beyond. Other alien species, hidden civilizations that had been watching humanity's development, began to take notice. Some sent scouts to observe the new partnership. A few made tentative contact of their own, curious about these humans who had earned Kethmori trust. 6 months after Marcus had pulled a poisoned arrow from Valeth's paw, ground was broken for the first joint human-Kethmori research facility. It would not be built on Earth or on the mining colony, but on a new world, chosen together by both species. A place where they could work as equals to develop technologies that would benefit everyone. At the dedication ceremony, Marcus stood with Valeth on a hill overlooking the construction site. The buildings rising from the valley floor represented something that had never existed before in the galaxy. A true alliance between species based on mutual respect rather than domination. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I had not found you that day?" Marcus asked. Valeth's golden eyes reflected the light of two suns in the alien sky. "I believe you would have found some other way to show your people's true nature. Kindness cannot be hidden for long. It always finds a way to shine." Below them, humans and Kethmori worked side by side, sharing tools and ideas. Children from the new settlement played games that combined elements from both cultures. Scientists from dozens of species had begun arriving to study and contribute to the research. "The galaxy is watching," Valeth continued. Word spreads about the human-Kethmori alliance. Other hidden peoples begin to hope that the age of the hegemony might finally be ending. Marcus thought about the long journey that had brought them here. It had started with a simple choice: help someone who was suffering. That choice had rippled outward, changing first Valeth's opinion of humans, then her people's decision to make contact, and finally the course of galactic civilization itself. "Your people have a saying," Valeth said. "Small actions can have large consequences. You, humans, prove this is true." As the twin suns set over their new world, Marcus reflected on the strange path that had led him here. He had been a simple doctor on a remote mining colony. Now he was helping to build bridges between species that had been separated by fear and mistrust for centuries, all because he had chosen to remove a venomous arrow from a stranger's paw, asking nothing in return. The Kethmori had been right about debts and gifts and the honor that came from helping others without expectation of reward. Marcus had given freely of his compassion, and in return, he had received something beyond price: the chance to help build a better future for all intelligent life in the galaxy. And in the growing alliance between humans and Kethmori, other species saw proof that cooperation was possible, that technology could be shared without conquest, and that the galaxy's future need not be determined by those who took by force, but by those who gave with open hearts. The venomous arrow had been removed. The wound had healed. And from that simple act of kindness, a new chapter in galactic history had begun.